Hi, and welcome to the 7 week journey, climbing the tree of life. So happy to have you here. So, this is a 7 week period, a very powerful time span, which is going to really empower and refine your ability to increase life, elevate your spirits, and also the people in your life and the people around you as well. So this is a really important time to clear the channels of manifestation because we need a lot of positive energy, and I want to share just kind of what it is that we're doing, give you kind of a good background of what will be happening throughout the 7 weeks. So hello, my name is Arik. So happy to have you. And I feel that maybe one of the most important things to address right off the bat is the fact that each week we will be connecting with a different dimension and tuning into a frequency that's available within the cosmos. And we're going to do it through um, various antennas, like mudras that we make with our hands to draw down the energy of a frequency, and then using it in combination with a tarot archetype from the Cosmic Pixels deck. So each dimension on the Tree of Life is named for an attribute of the infinite, unknowable God, okay? And each bears an archetype of that manifestation of the divine. So this is the minor arcana, or the smaller secrets, and they are seen as kind of these expressions of these greater archetypes. Now, the underlying the historical association of a dimension and card is a very potent, mysterious psychological truth, and that underlying historical association is that these dimensions that they provide the archetypes by which the tarot can really be understood. Now let me say that again, that when we're understanding how to work with the tarot, then we can understand the tarot in and of itself. Now, we are living in times that we have to really earn back our freedom so that we can write our story and no longer live our life on repeat. Okay? And as you can see at the very top, we have the dimension, the crown, or the corona, if you will. And that represents the unmanifest potential of all of existence, and that relates, of course, to your divine will. Now, each successive dimension represents a different stage in the manifestation process, and there are 10 different stages which represent various processes of that energy of manifestation or the energy of uploading and transmitting. The 10th at the very bottom represents the material plane of existence, which is what you're using to listen to this. Now, they represent the stages that step down frequency from the most subtle to the most physical. We can also think of them as spheres that are emanating 10 sequential principles, and the use of circles, we're going to use the energy of circles to represent them, is a really good way to make the intangible tangible, because there's so much power in the power of a circle, in that the shape of a circle is one of the physical indentations of the constant flow of the universe. Okay? So by placing the archetypes within a circle, it's going to energetically charge these really powerful images with the constant flow, the circuitry of the circle, which has no beginning and has no end. Now, when we're talking about the different energies or the different lights, the brilliant light, the luminous light, the even in our world, the solar light or the lunar light, there are different kinds of lights that I want to talk about that's really important to understand as we're working with the circuitry of what's available. So we have something called the surrounding light, which is our potential light. It's the energy around us that pushes us and it motivates us to explore spirituality and the meaning of our existence. And this light also refers to the amount of light that each of us came here to reveal in the world. So some of us might need to reveal more light than others, and some of us you know, are really asked to reveal more light, because then we're going to have more momentum to gather towards greater spiritual actions. So we can tap into this light that's surrounding us by reciting blessings, prayers, being connected, raising our level of consciousness. And it's interesting because each day of the week, of every week, but specifically each day of the 7 weeks, we're connecting to the appropriate wisdom, which is correcting us to that light that's surrounding us in these days. Now, the other kind of light is something called the inner light, and that's the light that we actually have, and it refers to that life force energy that breathes us into existence. It's the fuel that we use to sustain and animate us. Now, working with the light that's surrounding us and the inner light within us is going to help us to materialize the light in our world so that we can write our own story. So by meditating on the related archetype, using the mudra, using the hand sign, the hand mode, and the dimension, we're going to dial into the dimension, connect to it, and then it's going to help us to achieve our true narrative. I recently gave a talk on remote surrogacy, how it works, using the 10 dimensions, the structures that the light uses to ascend and descend into our world, understanding, of course, how the Big Bang Theory and the process of creation and manifestation has its part in it, as well as the dimensions of our universe, and how we can also access these 10 stages that are then repeated throughout the 4 different layers of the 4 different levels, which is a completely different story. But just know that it's very vast and there's lots of things, but we can still use it. All right. So I think it's really to introduce what we're doing here on a deeper level through visualization and meditation, because visualization is such a powerful way to shift things. Every week is going to offer us that frequency to attach to. As we're writing our story, we need to remove whatever is preventing us, whatever is giving us writer's block in a way, from writing it, thinking about it, programming it, and coding it into our lives. So we're going to travel through these 7 dimensions before we can publish our story and reunite with it on June 5th. And that's when the invisible unites with the visible, and this is that day of soulmates that I've been talking about. So we have this process of detaching from the know-it-all and then connecting to life, detaching from just knowing it all, being addicted to knowledge, thinking we have it all figured out, not understanding that someone has something that we don't understand, that we can learn from other people. It basically means that there's no room for anything new in our life. So through the power of visualization and meditation, we can understand how the cosmos is structured in such a way that there are 2 options. We can connect to the knowledge of knowing it all, or the knowledge of life. And that is the difference between the tree of life and the tree of death. The tree of death is that know-it-all energy that's creating separation, that's creating fragmentation. And between it is this energy of this mountain, really, of attainment. So it's and we see this in the lover's archetype. So it's our opportunity and our responsibility to admit ourselves to the 7-week process to help us organize the downloaded energy from our lives, especially from the 12 days of the spring equinox, so that we can install it into various parts of our reality. So it's a challenging time for each and every one of us, for all of mankind, that we will be going through it, although it may be on a subconscious level. But the more we are aware and the more that we include ourselves in the process into our lives, the less stress and the less pressure we're going to have on the subconscious levels, and the greater the outcome will be when we manifest the energy into our reality. So this is a really powerful time, each of the 7 weeks, ruled by a different static energy, which we can use to meditate with, to elevate with, and eventually integrate into our lives and into our experiences. Now remember, your ego will be going through this 7-week process journey, whether you are aware of it or not. So your task is to keep this open mind, surrender the resistance, Your focus will be to remove the blockages which keep you from rewriting your story, that keep you from traveling from one level of consciousness to another, because it'd be like, oh, that week really sucked, I don't want to do the next week. No, you keep going, you keep pushing through, you keep enduring. So the relationships between these 7 dimensions are going to tell us how you are using that energy that's available for us, okay? And then once we get to June 5th, which is that energy of soulmate, that energy of union, we're going to be able to connect with our soul. We're going to connect with God, like, consciously in an opening that's available to us. Each and every one of us will be connected with our soulmates on all levels, in relationships, romantic, friendship, business, family, all kinds of things that we don't even know about. And it's going to be within the material world, not within the invisible, but actually within the physical, because there's one thing to be connected on the invisible, but you also need to be, having a relationship in the physical. So these 7 weeks are really leading up to that energy of removing separation and accessing the energy of union, especially on June 5th. So it's about harmonizing, unifying everything in the world on all levels and all dimensions. And it takes time to really do this and to recognize this, which is why we have 7 weeks. And we're going to learn how we can remove these blockages from our soulmates throughout those 7 weeks. And it's going to also help us to transcend our fate. So, you guys, I'm really happy to have you here, and thank you so much for your trust as we're going through these 7 weeks of broadcasting this powerful energy. It's a huge investment that it's putting into you, and now you're going to want to be able to unload it and install it into your life every week and every day. So we don't want to keep those gates closed. We want to keep them open. We want to close the gates of negativity, though. And so generally it's a good time to not begin anything new, but it's a good time to build on things that you've already started, okay? So these 7 dimensions of transmitting energy that we need to tune into are there and available to us. And also stay tuned for your, check your inbox, check your messages, because there will be daily consciousness for you to tap into as well. All right, so depending on when you're watching this, just check the date, see which week you're in, and then start there. All right, guys, make it count. Bye.